If you or a loved one was diagnosed with...
Good, dude.
What's good?
What's
We're
good,
back. Out the box. No intro.
Fucking intro. These niggas know what the fuck going on.
Fire for that.
Know it.
Over here talking about 2016. I'm over here having flashbacks. Like, dang, what a time that was. I was in high school for that time, so I had always wished that I could be an adult around that time, because that must have felt so special to be like college age and out.
2016.
Yeah, you hear ASSUALT, Minnesota. Like
that shit was ringing off, but
Call
that's your
Minnesota. Yeah, like 21 Savage. Pull it to your mama, how some put some.
Yeah, 21.
That's all I can remember. Yeah, Cardi. Like
skirt. A whole bunch of and skirts.
And then Young and May had Ooh around that same time. Pull up the
What the fuck was this song?
Air that shit out.
Pull up that. That was the shit.
No, that shit was fire, bro. That whole time period was just amazing for what it was. And you even had your little niche shit like Lil Peep and Lil Tracy. Like, them niggas was going crazy on they little shit.
And yeah, I'll give you that.
And then and then for South Florida in general, we had people like Denzel Curry, X, Ski Mask, Lil Pump,
that is when they opened
Smoke
up that
Perp,
little SoundCloud.
That whole
portal.
Yeah. Like, all these niggas just started walking through some random ass wormhole. Like, that's what we on now.
But what they did that was smart was, like, I wish people would do, like, everywhere for real. Like, you see one nigga get on, you ain't gotta hate for real. You ain't gotta be on that. You ain't gotta be distant. Like, it's cool for niggas to work together. You feel me? If that means putting a spotlight.
I think
on
from
all
what
of
I'm
us.
seeing right now, the best thing I can compare it to is kind of what Cash Cobain is doing. Like, you see CAITLYN just came out with her version of that, and that's popping off the way it's doing, and it's became a whole sound in itself, and just rippled out. It does still, to me, feel like people are redoing what he did, you know what I'm saying, and taking essence away from it a little bit, but it's supposed to be a movement, so I feel like only time will tell, like, what's next.
To say that about him in particular, you have to say that against the field as well, because 2 seconds ago, Yeet was the new thing on time. And from him, there are 3 more artists that you could name right now.
That's true.
That are baby versions of him in their own little way.
I would honestly say there's one that they're solidifying and saying, and I would just say it's like Ian, the white boy. But, like, other than that, I can't really say somebody's come out and they're not condemning them for being a clone. Like, you're not gonna pop off in any special way.
Yeah, so if we just really think about from, let's say 2014,
Chief Keef times,
a little after that,
a little bit.
We're talking about, this is like Uzi and them made the freshman cover 2016, but they were
had
very
been out,
much steaming
around,
from, I would say,
before that,
around 2014, 15 on.
That's when they were truly SoundCloud rappers,
If we just take that sample, that small sample of that, realistically, if Lil Uzi and them were the prototypes for what was to come, which led to the Lil Pumps, Smoke Perps, I wouldn't say Trippy, because Trippy was kind of like out around when Uzi was out. Yeah. But Yachty, niggas like that, like, they're all branched, all Playboy Cardi, like, these are all like branches of them. Right.
I see what you're saying.
And then we got to consider where they came from, which is like Thugs, Futures, and them. That wasn't even that long ago before then. So really and truly, it's like, yo, if you already a grandbaby of something,
you already down the line.
It's like, who cares about the whole, you sound like this nigga, you sound like everybody.
Yeah. So what do you think is that effect that really puts people on? Is it people attaching themselves to the image and how different the new artist is, or what the little things?
I think fans are becoming the artists.
Interesting.
The fans are doing what essentially the world has been trying to get us to do. Download what somebody's selling you, and then emulate it in your everyday life. So when I'm seeing niggas like Lil Uzi with the purple dreads and shit, if I'm a young impressionable boy and I see what it's doing for him, and then I like his music, and then he's dancing, now I'm dancing like him, and now I'm dressing like him, like, you're essentially turning yourself into Lil Uzi Vert Jr. to some degree.
Right.
And then they take it a step further now. They just like, well, I think I could go to the studio and make a song.
Yeah, and they make it
fuck you.
An image of them.
Yeah, man. Like, get in there and just start saying shit. 3 of their friends be like, yo, that's fucking hard. Now they're on their path to
SoundCloud rapping.
to becoming whatever the fuck. And then some of them actually might get kind of good. Others might just get clouded.
Yeah, there's I think in this version of the SoundCloud era, I would say there's a lot of great grandbabies of a lot of the other shit. And I wouldn't say a lot of people kind of have like really have their own style. Like where I could say that doesn't sound like absolutely anybody. But that's what music has been from the very beginning, because so I don't feel any negative type of way about that. I don't feel like, oh, you're a clone, or you sound like this. I more feel neutral. I feel like, well, music has always been redone and taken inspiration
at this rate is the side effects of social media technology.
And internet, yeah, and technology in general.
Back then, if a nigga put it on wax and had it out on the radio, that was like a process. That wasn't like something you just
also,
did
I feel like
on the spot.
And also music stuck to an area longer. So if you were making music in Virginia Beach, unless you were like Pharrell, your shit not getting to LA.
Yeah, if you weren't getting like major distribution, you were Master P and that shit. Yeah, you're not
really. Yeah, your shit wasn't really going.
But what I'm saying is, if I came out with a song, it's getting hot in here, and I drop that, and then everybody hears it at the same time because it's getting major distribution,
yeah. radio, wax, CDs,
everything,
mixtape,
the whole 9 yards. So if that happens and everybody hears that, and then some nigga comes out a week later with his emulated version of my song, niggas are gonna know immediately, like, wait,
yeah, he tried to remix this. And then back then they would have condemned you. In this day and age,
and styles were so unique. Like it was still growing in its earlier stages of what hip hop was headed toward.
It's funny that you say that, because I think that's the biggest difference. Back then, hip hop was a baby, and a lot of things hadn't been done yet. And now we're getting to the point where a lot of things are being redone, and people are not finding new ways to be more creative. You know what I'm saying? They're not finding a way to be super themselves. Like, I was watching an interview earlier today with one of the, I think he was like a manager for Party Next Door, one of Party Next Door's first couple of managers when he's coming out. And he was just talking about how when he looks for talent, it's like he wants to hear somebody that sounds different. Like if you sound like Party and you just sound like Party, you sound like him. You sound like Bryson Tiller and you just sound like Bryson Tiller, that's a different thing. You sound like Drake, you just sound like Drake. And he's saying the difference is like, yeah, maybe somebody might kind of sound like them, but you're not that person. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you're not that person. You can't recreate something like that. Yeah. And so I understand that these days you can pick an artist and somebody could probably copy them and recreate their whole image, and then it would just be a different face.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. These niggas are templates at this point. Like, oh, what kind of rapper you want?
Like, yeah, pull the slot machine. Ding, ding, ding.
We got this selection. You want them with tattoos, no tattoos, dreads? Wicks. What do you want?
What do you want? You got my created players now coming out.
What do you? This
you
shit
can,
is.
And that what you said is really true. You can really find.
And niggas don't give shit a chance to breathe anymore. So, to your point earlier about the dude and sounding like other people, bro. If I drop a song today,
somebody gonna sound
somebody
like
catch wind.
Catch Cobain.
Like they're going to take that and jump on that shit before. Like my shit even get a chance to
really take off, because people can see the potential in your sound, especially if you have a wave or a certain sound to you. It's going to be like people can catch wind of that. And in the generation that we live in now, it's so different because of the internet and social media. Like a lot of times I've gotten discouraged from doing certain things because I'm like, damn, all these people like are on this wave, and it's like you have to fight through a wave. Like you got to just find your own. Like I came to the conclusion, you just got to find your own niche and do your own thing. and do what's natural and original to you rather than looking at what other people. You can't even look at what other people are doing because then it influences you too much. It'll influence you too much.
It's almost impossible these days. That's what programming is. If you get on your phone and you get on one of these apps, a couple swipes, you're gonna see something you don't want to see. Like,
very true.
But they're gonna keep forcing it to you, and then you get in the car. Unless you're gonna be on your music, if you listen to radio, they're gonna radio program you.
Yeah. And your human brain is just designed to put stuff into your subconscious a lot of times. Because I've realized this happened to me. Like, I'll see something once or twice, and I'll be like, I ain't fucking with this shit. And then I'll think about it. It'll come up later on in the day, and somebody will take it, and my brain will just come up with it. Like, oh yeah, I saw this earlier. Even though I wasn't really fucking with it at that time, like it'll still, my brain will still pull it out and be like, I have the information stored.
Amazing, boy.
That shit is, it's amazing and it's scary at the same time because one, you don't know what's stored in there like at all. It's just like a rabbit. It's a rabbit hat.
This is what's interesting. Before we close out that, when you look at shit, if you think about it. If you think about your camera sees a bunch of shit, right?
Right.
If you tap the screen on your iPhone, it'll focus on wherever you tap, right?
Right.
Now, if you think about your eyeball, is the same thing.
Fuck, your brain works the same way.
I'm focusing in on you.
You, right.
But my peripheral sees all of this shit.
Yeah, and your brain is picking all that shit up.
And it's picking it up. So it's like, even though I'm not paying attention to this shit right here, is very much still being seen.
It was crazy. Even when we were at the bar the other day, for some reason, I thought I was having a dream. Like, I remembered a dream that was exactly like this. And it felt exactly like that moment. Like, I was getting deja vu. Like, bro, I was standing here before. But it was
you
like,
kind of hungry, weren't you?
Yeah, I started getting delusional. I was looking for that jerk.
That nigga was out there looking like a slave. They say this is a big rich town. Yeah. I just come from the forest part. Bright lights, city lights.
I gotta make it.
That boy was in there like, oh yeah.
That boy was in that room like, I'm not fucking playing with you, Ghost. Crazy. Like, I first saw the video and I'm like, you know, maybe it's just the way
Wait, for context.
Man, y'all know what's going on.
For context,
they know what's going on.
Put the video like here.
Everybody in here has worked a job, has more than $1 million. Y'all have never worked, y'all never did nothing. Y'all literally have 5 minutes of max in here. Then y'all gotta get out, okay?
5 minutes? You know how much 5 minutes is?
Okay?
Yeah.
They've never worked. You gotta think. They've never worked a job, but they can party with us. Yo, anybody need water? Anybody need water? No, we good, bro.
No, paper towels for them.
Paper towels. Shut the fuck up.
But yeah, continue.
I don't know if it's just the way I grew up, but like I just initially, and I'm gonna say this like this. Initially, when I saw it, I didn't feel bad. I was just, and it's because I'm so desensitized to shit like that. Like I feel like even growing up like in a Jamaican household, like you just like women are women, gal them is the gal them. Like you're not really tripping, but then at the same time, like being a young black man in America, like shit like that is serious.
Hey,
the switch is crazy, but
it's true.
It's true. Being a young black man in America, shit is tough. Like that's a very serious thing, and like a lot of times in flip scripts, when you do think about it that way, it is, you know. But for me personally, it's all perspective. If somebody personally feels like a wrong was done to them, they have every right to do that once you violated their personal space. Me personally, I wouldn't.
Okay,
I wouldn't be like, I'm gonna sue her. I wouldn't.
Okay, so
personally.
This is kind of layered. So let's just try to go step by step.
Right.
All right. So, you seen what happened. You seen how he acted afterwards. We don't know whether that was just him acting out of, I don't want to be like, you know, embarrassed.
Yeah.
Or I gotta laugh this off to be cool.
Awkwardness and not trying to blow it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So It could have been that, or it could have genuinely just been like, yo, this shit crazy, but then you leave and then you think like, damn, bro, you really violated me online. And
I think for me,
this could easily be some other shit right now.
Right.
Like,
even while seeing it, it could have been reversed onto him for no reason too.
Yeah, like
even though he did nothing,
she could have made it something.
That's very true. She could have totally
had
just
he not
lied
said nothing and
got up out of there.
Yeah, just
and
left
got up
and
out
she
of
didn't
there,
say nothing. Like, and she decided to go out and be like,
and tell a different story.
oh, yeah, me and him were.
Yeah, it could have been totally misconstrued.
It's a blog.
I think when I saw the full video, because initially what I was talking about was just hearing about it and people telling me about it, I'm like, okay. And then when I saw the video and I realized what the full video and that it was in front of the kids, I was like, nah.
That was sick work.
Everything she does, everything she gets, she deserves. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, that was the part where I was like, whispering in his ear was, and who knows what she said. I think that's the wildest part.
All right, now sidebar from Tariq. I mean, Michael.
Nigga said Tariq.
My bad, Michael. My nigga Tariq, man. Nah, but aside from Michael, me personally, I've had situations like that happen. Now, I'm not saying this shit to be like, oh, like, but it does make you wonder, like, it's deeper than how we treat this shit, right?
Correct.
Because that's how it's always been. It's like, to the guys, it's like, yo,
it's the guy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
To the women, it's kind of like,
that's it might be
like,
it might be weird.
Some of them
might get lit.
Are like, that's kind of weird, or they're like, no, I don't fuck with that, or they're just okay, like whatever. And it's interesting because we know that's not the case the other way. Like, had that been a girl,
you're cooked.
Guy walked up and did some shit like that,
you're cooked.
You're under the jail.
You're under it.
With that being said, these statistics that, and I'm not defending, I'm not attacking, I'm literally just trying to get this part out. Given the statistics that people tend to go to whenever we get into these conversations about women and sexual assault, or women in rape, or, just shit in that realm.
Right.
It's like, there's no if and or but with them. You get what I'm saying? Like, even if we want to be like, hey man, I don't agree with that shit, I just want to wait for the facts to come out. Just give me that. Like, I just want to wait. I don't want to crucify somebody if they're really innocent.
Yeah, there's no leeway.
And I don't want a guilty nigga out here free. I'm conflicted.
Yeah, there's no leeway.
But if I'm supposed to believe in the justice system, and however that works, give me that.
Right.
But we don't get that grace.
Yeah.
Right? It's either don't say shit at all, and they'll still look at you and be like, wait, you're not saying anything about this? Okay. Then you give a logical, rational point, and then they're like, nigga, what the fuck?
And wait, and just to be clear, you're talking about it from the point of view if a man had done something.
Exactly.
Then there's an immediate justice that needs to be dealt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever justice that
whatever
is.
that is.
Street
Yeah.
justice.
Whatever.
They don't gotta.
Something
They want to
like y'all were in the room, y'all didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
It's things of that nature. And so, I agree with you, but why do you think that is?
All right, that's what I'm getting to. Statistically, they would use a lot of cases we see every day. Just shit we don't even know about.
Right.
But the stats show that sexual assault, women are very much like
the victims of that.
Primary
they're
candidates for that to happen.
Yeah. So the percentage on the men's side is so small that
I don't know the exact percentages, so I'm not sitting up here acting like
and like it's a teeny tiny thing.
Like I don't know the exact math, so don't quote me on anything. But I'm pretty sure it's less.
Yeah, it's enough for people to look at and be like,
Yeah, to be like, okay, you got a point, but we're significantly more.
And
all right?
Yeah.
Now, take it back to what I just said. I've had that happen to me.
Right.
I'm not reporting that.
That's what I was about to say. The
majority
cases,
of guys are not reporting
most
that.
likely, yeah.
So it doesn't mean
it's not happening.
That this is not happening on the regular. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just not being reported.
Right.
That goes for domestic violence.
Yeah.
That goes for sexual assault.
Yeah.
That goes for feeling violated, sexually harassed.
Even getting robbed. Like if a woman robbed, like,
that too.
Most likely,
or drugs.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff.
Any of that shit.
Yeah.
Cardi B said it. Not trying to.
She
said it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't report these things.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to run around with the narrative to make it seem like guys are just the overwhelming majority creep. And this is what we do.
I like the way you explained it, because the way you explained it opens my mind to being like, reporting it, and like being that so many eyes are on this, the right thing to do would be to report it so that you can show people like, hey, we don't have to be silent about these things. I know we talk a lot about men's mental health and men's, etc. Let me be like, this be a point to prove, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry that has to be you, but it's an example.
We talk about this all the fucking time. Like, if I was a billionaire and I feel like they had me in their fucking scope, let one of these motherfuckers try to put some bullshit on me, I'm countersuing. I felt sexually harassed. We're both gonna be battling each other, and that's just what it is.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. Let's just take this for example. The two ladies who just got arrested for trying to set up a foursome or whatever with the students.
Okay.
The two teachers.
I heard. They're intertwining these situations a lot.
Right.
So.
A lot of those cases be women teachers.
Yo, that's facts.
Do you not think that
that's facts?
The same shit that happens with these creepy ass niggas in the industry and creepy ass people and creepy bosses and stuff like that, there's not just as many
creepy teachers,
creepy ass women out here? And coming from a nigga since I've been yay high, like,
creepy teachers.
I think I've been in a few predatory situations as it pertains to older women.
Right.
I'm just being real. Did I ever think it was some shit like, hey, mom, I felt like.
But that's just because of that's just because it's not something that, and I think that's across the globe when it comes to men in general. Like, we're just seen as something different, no matter what age you're at. You know what I'm saying?
Like, we just fucking bots. Like, we just here, and we don't go through shit. Like, shit don't happen, and it's like, yo, it's so fucked because it's like the things they tell you you have to be a man.
Yeah.
Are the very things that if you are those things, it's bad in another way. It's like,
yeah, it could be, it's all perception. I was talking about this with my homegirl. A lot of how we see, and if we just want to talk about men, predominantly men, is perception. Like, if one thing could be taken as misogyny, or it could be taken as a good thing, like being just a man. And
yeah, it's stupid.
Just a man. Like,
how do we feel about Michael Rainey reporting?
I feel like
this shit,
like a synopsis of the whole situation, I'd have to say,
wrap it up.
I feel like Tariq should definitely do what he feels is best for him.
It's Michael.
Whether that be pressing charges, that nigga Tariq to me, I can't lie. He's Tariq. He played the character too good. And he locked in this season too. This season getting walky. Effie, we seeing what you doing, Effie. Yo. Effie, I can't stand the girl.
Yo, she's a Tariq.
Get away from that girit. Like we had to talk about
backhand.
No, they should take Kane and him should take turns backhanding her, bro. But that first episode was John Wick level. That was a good first episode. Like, they started introducing
when did them niggas go to boot camp?
I'm like, what the hell? Like, when could Brian? What's his name?
Come on, bro. When did my nigga go to boot camp?
What's that nigga name? What's the white dude's name?
Braden.
I should know his name. When did Braden become a shooter for real?
Bro, the niggas came down. You know what I mean? Like,
no, the truck scene was crazy.
Tactical.
Truck scene. Like, they was not playing.
How you do all that shit and let a bitch grab on your dick?
Free my girl Kate from these haters, man.
What?
I said free Kate from these haters.
CAITLYN.
She can't stand y'all niggas.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, at this point, I don't know how to feel about this shit. Because I know what I'm seeing and I know what I'm hearing.
I mean, off the rip, for the benefit of the sport, I think it makes sense. And I don't. And this is coming from a person that doesn't even really watch sports or nothing like that. I used to watch sports. To let her be on the Olympic team, I think she should be on it. I think they should take somebody off. I don't care what the fuck their record is, and put her on the team.
Why?
Sportsmanship. That just is like playing in there. I think it'll help the sport and it'll put more eyes on stuff like that. Because I've never even seen Olympic women's basketball. I've never even thought to watch that. But CAITLYN is somebody, like, if they said like, oh, she's on the Olympic team, that would actually catch my attention and I would watch it.
Well, according to 90% of the women out there, that's not true.
That's crazy. Are they watching it? Like, that's my thing. Are they watching the Olympic Games? And that's the statistic I would pay attention to.
You would think they are.
You would hope they are.
But
That's
the
really
ratings
what it is.
don't reflect. I think baddies get more viewers than them motherfuckers.
I think baddies gets viewings than most things. Every girl on the planet is watching baddies.
All right, but in all seriousness, I think what the majority, no, I think what all of the WNBA needs to understand is this. We don't give a fuck.
Hey, yo.
We don't care.
In the sense of what? Like
Everything.
Nah, you're going to hell. Somebody cares.
We don't give a
Somebody
fuck.
cares.
Now think about this. No, I'm bullshitting, but in the broad picture of things,
It doesn't.
the overwhelming majority just doesn't give a fuck,
Yeah,
right?
It's indifference.
You've been bugging everybody for mad long.
Right.
Since the WNBA has been a thing, I think it's what, 25, 26, 27 years old
That's
or some
crazy.
shit like that.
Almost 30 years old. Okay.
Right. And they've never been in the green. The NBA subsidizes 60% of what the whole entity, right?
Right.
And they're in the red
That's crazy. as
every
fuck.
year. So the NBA literally is just giving away money, like,
That's wild. I did not know they're in the red every year.
for them to exist the way they do now, which
That's
they complain about.
crazy.
And I'm not saying they're wrong for complaining, because
I mean,
years back I
it's a
wouldn't have
business.
known that you couldn't have paid me to believe that they weren't getting paid shit. Like they were getting paid like regular 9 to 5.
I still believe, like, I'm still, like, it's hard for me to
Top
believe
salary be
anything else.
like 250,000,
That's crazy as fuck.
right?
Yeah.
So you're like a doctor. You're like a good doctor.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing, like, but for what they do, I mean, you would think. And then we're not going to compare them to their counterparts. You know why? Because this is where the conversation always goes
Left.
sour. Your counterparts had to do the same shit, right? I keep hearing a lot of these WNBA players, the integrity of the game. We play for the integrity. We got to stick to the whatever that means, like. So what you're saying is you don't want to evolve. The NBA was some whole other shit 50 years ago.
Niggas just throwing shit in the ball. Nigga can bounce the ball off to your head,
Yeah.
and still shoot that motherfucker.
Like,
oh, fucking dead, yo.
of course, that was the integrity of the game.
Right.
Pass the ball. And like that was the game.
Right.
Then insert new talent. Insert Michael Jordan. You think the rest of the fucking field wanted to adhere to fucking This nigga,
Hell no.
this young ass nigga who just can't, nigga, what? This my shit.
And he got an ego. And it's
And
big.
this nigga come in the game and fly over your ass. Like, what? When they start doing that, like, he got you niggas sneaker deals in the way that you can get them now.
Right. So everybody wearing Jordan, they sick as hell.
That took the game changing, right?
Right.
The rule changes. Take Steph Curry. Steph Curry without that fucking long ass tray is a regular Joe Schmo to us. Like a nigga who can hoop, maybe score 30. Nothing spectacular.
Yeah, he's not Curry. Like.
Yeah. What made Curry was throwing that bitch from half court.
And niggas like, whoa, shit.
What makes Caitlyn is throwing that bitch up the way she throw it up.
Facts.
The finesse she play with. The wit, the kinetics are there. Like,
I get what you're saying.
we don't watch WNBA because 70% of them are LGBTQ. And they pretty much try to look like us or act like us, right? Average guy, he doesn't really want to see that, or have to just that's not what they're tuning in to see.
Like the
right?
average guy that watches sports and basketball, things of that nature, he's watching for a different reason. He's not gonna hear the integrity of the game and be like, ooh.
Yeah, but all right, it's a mute fucking point, but guys don't want to tune in to see girls trying to emulate being a guy, right?
Yeah, especially
then
in
when you
sports,
get on the court,
especially in sports in particular.
If you're gonna get on the court and emulate what guys do, why wouldn't I just go watch the
guys do it?
The better version of that.
Yeah.
Like,
and what
you're
reason
emulating the guys, but
and unless you
still
had
play
any
like a girl.
I just don't see it because a lot of people that watch sports, and I don't watch sports to reiterate, like they get emotionally invested into a lot of the people that play, and I don't see how guys can relate to women. There's no relation there. A lot of people didn't make the team or make it to the NBA or make it to play college ball, and so like they see themselves in that when they watch other men play. And then women in general, I would say I don't think a large majority of women watch sports at all.
Yeah, but
and so that's why it's
I want to debunk that,
Yeah.
because it comes off as like we just don't watch it because we don't want to watch women, or
there's no
just some
you
random,
can't relate to
whatever
it.
the fuck.
I feel like
and
as a
I
man,
don't
you can't
believe
relate
that's
to it.
true. This is why it's not true, because of Caitlyn Clark.
Yeah.
She's probably the first that we can honestly say in today's time we can kind of see a little bit of what we do in there.
Right.
Right?
I see what you're saying.
It's different.
Yeah. And it brings out the excitement. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, how'd she do that?
Are we saying she's like superior than all the other greats in the
I don't think anybody
or
saying that.
is she is she the best player in the league right now? No. Nobody's saying that. She could be.
Yeah.
One
day.
day.
Yeah, for sure.
Not gonna take that from her. But where it currently stands, you can't tell us what the fuck we're watching for. We don't care what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
You can say whatever you want on that fucking mic, on these platforms, and whoever big figureheads they're using to perpetuate whatever narrative.
Yeah.
You can't tell us why we're watching.
Yeah. You
can say, Angel Reese can sit up there and say, oh yeah, and I'm gonna be a part of the reason why they watch it now. She might be true to a degree.
Right.
That might have been true for college when that whole thing with her and Caitlyn was happening. But as it pertains to the WNBA, we're watching for Caitlyn Clark. I can tell you that. Me personally, I'm watching for Caitlyn Clark.
And are you enjoying it? What are you getting from watching Caitlyn?
I just enjoy seeing her style of play.
Interesting.
It's more appealing to the eye. Like, if we really dissect how the WNBA plays the game, they'll tell you themselves. because that's one of the major arguments they're making right now is, oh, when the girl, I think her name was Kennedy, pushed her to the ground or shoved her to the ground. Oh, it's a competitive sport. It's just.
Did she sound like
It's
that?
a competitive, like, she's like, it's a competitive sport. Like, she said however the fuck she said it. But at the end of the day, all I can think in my mind every time they say that shit is, well, what the fuck do you think any sport is?
Right.
It's all competitive.
I had to ask because that girl Brittany has a deep voice, and that I just thought.
in the male NBA, when niggas do shit like that, like Draymond, or when people do dirty little moves, of course it's entertaining.
But we still call that nigga
we still
bully.
demonize it.
Yeah, we
like,
still call that nigga bully.
Yeah, it's still fucked up. They're gonna do it. Okay, he knows what consequences come with that.
Right.
Whether he chooses to believe it now or later. We don't support that. Like,
Yeah. What if you hurt this nigga? Like,
yeah,
he's
like
cooked.
it's nuts. Like what you did wasn't competitive. That looked like you lost your temper.
and pushed the nigga.
and shoved her to the ground. And then it just seems like the whole vibe in the W right now is like, well, from what I've seen, I'm not gonna say the whole vibe. From what I've seen, I swear to God, it just seemed like they got chips on their shoulders. Like, anytime Caitlyn name come up, oh, I don't have an opinion. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Next question. Like, it's always some shit like.
Because it's always going to be like that. That's just part of human nature when you really think about it, because she's the it girl, whether people want to accept it or not. And when somebody truly is the it girl, you're forced to accept that, even if you don't want to. You are forced by everybody around you to accept it.
I think,
what about this person though? Like, this, you're playing with this amazing person. Like, y'all don't see how amazing she is.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, I don't really have an opinion.
and
You have an opinion.
It's crazy because none of this is Caitlyn's doing for real.
She be chilling.
She's not the one
Like,
saying.
I don't know why you niggas hate me.
Yeah, like, she's not saying these things. This has all been narrative since college. Like, everybody's speaking for the chick, and then like it's causing real time reactions. But bro, this is a part of what it takes to grow the sport.
I mean, even look at players like Luka. Luka kind of had that attitude about him when people were speaking about him. He was just balling to ball, and he's just like, yo, I come to play.
Yeah,
it's very
Joker,
much the same attitude.
All of them, dude. This is what it takes, my nigga. Look at any of the top athletes who are women. Shit, Simone Biles is killing the gymnastic world. Like,
stepping on their heads, bad.
Why is that? It's not because she follows suits and holds the integrity of gymnastics.
Right.
No, the gymnastics integrity is trying to tell her, oh, how you're doing shit? Yeah, we're not.
They're trying to give her constraints, but
we're not doing that.
She keep on dubbing it, yeah.
Stick to doing the shit we've been doing for the last, that everybody can do. If everybody could do what Caitlyn was doing, you would do it.
Yeah, because you would be the it girl.
You don't, because the way you've been taught to play the game is to get in line, single file, work your way up, and keep on like play that old ball. Like the floppy style play that we see a lot in the W. If you actually watch the game, that's why it's so damn fucking physical to y'all, because y'all don't have no fucking finesse for real. There ain't nobody out there like like yanking shit. It's just more like straight lines being ran out there, like
readable play.
Like, and they're knocking knees and shit. Like, they don't know how to stop with finesse. It's like crash outs, like just
sending missile.
Yeah, like the layups, they be having to stop and then like jump all separate.
And by that, it's contested. And
yeah, by then, like, I would slap that shit to the stands. You took mad long, like a 3-point turn, 3-point layup. Nah, I'm bullshitting, but like that's dead ass how the game looked to me. I'm just saying. But I'm fucking with Clark Kent. Yeah.
She got up. She said, these niggas can't guard me.
Hey, I give her a year before she averaging 30.
That's a scary sight.
Before she averaging
See,
30.
nigga, I was even gonna touch on that a little bit, bro. That's exactly why. Like, I'm glad I'm not into sports. I would be betting my ass off right now. Like, I would be. I'm no lie. I would be putting money on parlays every day if I
get on that
like,
prize pick.
If I would be on that shit, parlay, all that shit.
Use the code OTB.
Niggas gonna really put that in.
They'll
too.
match your first deposit up to $100.
I'll be on that shit every day, nigga. I
Yeah.
ain't gonna lie. Betting mad money. Boxing, putting 1,000. For the sake of consistency, let's say it's the WNBA, and I bet under on all three of them.
Might win some bread.
I had a question for my homegirl today. I was like, yo, is narcissism a spectrum, yo? And I had been reading this book by Robert Greene, and it's called The Laws of Human Nature. And he touches on this a little bit about how narcissism is a spectrum. And, you know, when I read things or hear any type of information from different places, I never take it as like a fact. I always take it as, okay, that's that person's perspective on life. Yeah. And so I like to pose questions to other people, and I form my own opinion through that, how I feel and how I feel like other people around me feel about it. So I had to ask you as well, do you think narcissism is a spectrum? Do you think we all have a little bit of narcissism within ourselves that we all are subject to falling prey to, or on a different scale? Because when Robert Greene talks about it, he says there's deep narcissism, and that's what most of us familiarize ourselves with it. So when I had asked my homegirl about it, she said, well, you're either a narcissist or you're not. And I said, you know what? I'm starting to think that's not so true.
Well, we can split hairs here.
Fruit Ninja is crazy.
We can split hairs here. But realistically, I think a lot of shit is or could be a spectrum in its own right. No different than like autism. But specifically with narcissism, we do have moments. I believe every human has a moment where you could be a bit narcissistic.
Correct.
In the true form of what it means to be narcissistic, not the way.
Yeah, the way we throw it around, like manipulate. And that's what I said to her exactly. I was like, it's not like when we throw around words like manipulation and you hear narcissism. It's when we hear these words throughout time, it's been molded by whoever to make it seem like a negative thing when we talk about manipulation. But in reality, you get manipulated every day. You get manipulated to buy things. You see ads and they go into your subconscious. You go in the store, you see something, you're like, oh, let me go ahead and grab this now. Whole time, like, you know what I'm saying? And that's not always a bad thing.
Well, yeah.
And it's the same thing with narcissism. There's such thing, I believe now, as healthy narcissism. To a degree, if you're not narcissistic when it comes to yourself, it can be detrimental to your health and your well-being.
Well, that's what you kind of want to get people to start trying to do. More so understanding what words are. I mean, that's if you even give a fuck that much. But if you understand what narcissistic means, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Right?
Yeah, it's never bad.
Same way you just said you should try to implement that somewhere in your life at times because it's good for your health. And what would self-preservation be about?
Right. If narcissism didn't exist within all of us. And so that's kind of how I explained it to her. It's not like when people are like, I want to die, because, you know, even killing yourself or dying, depending on who you are, that could be looked at as an attention-seeking thing or a selfish thing.
Right.
Depending on, you know.
Right.
But I don't want to get too much into that. But when it just comes to narcissism in itself, it's like, I do believe it is a spectrum, simply because, and it depends on where you are on that spectrum.
But how on a spectrum? Because now I'm starting to interpret the question
a little bit differently. I think it's this.
Are we saying a spectrum, like how we would say if someone's far off on the spectrum pertaining to autism, we would be saying XYZ.
I think it's all the same.
All right, he's not that on the spectrum. He's probably like just a little. He got a little of the isms.
I quite believe it's all the same, because when I think about it, and you think about deep narcissists, right? These are the people that they're so far gone into themselves, they don't even realize it. Like, you could talk to them and be like, bro, why'd you do that? And they'd be like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? I just did it. And then you have people that are healthy narcissists who are, these are people that can sit there and be like,
who would you say, for the viewers, who would you say is a character portrayed in a TV show, sitcom, whatever, that embodies the deep narcissist trait?
Tariq.
Tariq?
Yes.
Power.
Yes.
Okay.
I would immediately
elaborate.
And I'm gonna elaborate on that. Just like watching him over the seasons, even from Power, he never really took time to take accountability for his actions. And I think that's why all of us, like, and when I say all of us, I just mean the general public, from what I've seen. Like, you know how he talks about getting hate in real life? Like, people see they hate him, they hate the character that much, because if you look at it on screen, it's kind of obvious that he's deep narcissist. Because even when Ghost is trying to tell him, like, hey, son, I want to help you, but blah, 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 you know you did things and you have to account for your actions. He's like, nah. He's still blaming him for the things that he did.
Right.
And he can't see that he did anything wrong.
It's like oftentimes they would always, like, he's not wrong in saying, you did this to me, therefore this happened, but still he wants to make that the end all be all, and not understand that even in blaming him, there's still accountability
to be held for himself. And that's where you find deep narcissism, is when these people can't really they'll never say they did anything wrong. It can never be their fault, because then that moves them down the spectrum a little bit, to the point, and that's where I was going to get into healthy narcissism, is where you can be like, okay, sometimes I am a little narcissistic and self-absorbed, and I make selfish decisions, but why do I make these decisions, and why do I do these things? I think you find healthy narcissism when you're aware of it, and you question yourself, and you try to correct and fix these different things about yourself. And I think that's where you find some type of health. And then even to my homegirl, and this is just from my mind, I feel like once you dive below healthy narcissism, you get insecure narcissism. And the way that I describe this to her is in a way where it's like, hey, you have these people that think, and these are the people that say you're either narcissistic or you're not. That's what I believe. And the people that think they're not, they're like, I'm not narcissistic. They're not necessarily deep narcissists, like they're doing self-absorbed things. But you find, this is the people that I would say they're introverts. They keep to themselves. They don't really socialize. I feel like you'll see insecure narcissism in these people. Because they're going to justify the reason why they keep to themselves as, oh, I don't really like hanging out with people, or I don't like being in the crowd, or I don't like doing this or that. And really it's some type of insecurity within themselves that is making them do that. But it's still a narcissism trait, because they're doing it to stay to themselves. Yeah. To reserve their energy.
What I've learned, because I'm an expert on introvertism, I like to believe, everybody says it,
but they don't know what true. Yeah.
And even with what you said about trying to keep to themselves, you see insecurity and things like that. It's that can be true. I'm not discounting that.
Right.
But there's also the other end of that says that some people, like they say, the loudest person in the room, some people do the opposite.
They do.
And are just as insecure as the person who would just say, hey, I can't deal with the shit that comes with being in a place like that, right? I know that. So I'm gonna do everybody a favor and just chill.
Right.
I'm gonna be over here. That's more introverted than, oh, I don't want to be around nobody.
Yeah.
No, being an introvert means sometimes when I come in the crib, I don't want to talk to nobody. Not for no reason. Not because, like, I don't fuck with you. Not because I got animosity or nothing like that.
I don't want
to
talk.
Like, today is not the day when we're going to talk. for something just says.
And all of these things are okay. And I think what people need to learn is communication is key all around the board. And I think from childhood, it's something that as you grow up, it's habit that you pick up, either being avoidant or being communicative or having anxiety. It's one of the three, right? And the best thing for the best thing for most people is to communicate. If I don't feel like talking today, because a lot of our partners or people that we end up being in homes with, they can't, nobody, you hear your parents say this, I'm not a mind reader. Like, I'm not just gonna read your mind and know what's going on. Like, I think you acting funny.
Because they understand the process.
Right.
They know that you got shit that you're not saying.
Right.
Because they had shit they
They
weren't
not
saying.
yeah.
They know how hard it was to just be right there, and then they'll be asking you, and it's like, it's right there. You want to say it, but it's like,
nah. Yeah, like you're avoiding it, and a lot of people, I lean towards avoiding a lot of stuff. But
and
like,
you don't know that
different.
telling them is the best thing you could ever do.
Right.
So, like,
and even if you know, your mind tells you like, nah, it's okay.
Trap.
It's okay. It's okay. And I think what you were going along the lines of saying with the insecurity and even extroverts, they have a lot of that too, because they feel like if they can't be around people or talking all the time, then they can't really feel charged. That charges a lot of like extroverts and people to be around
like
people
siphoning
and talk. It's interesting. It's just the way, like, it's different.
like
it's a spectrum. It's just a spectrum of like, yeah.
sucking the energy out.
It's weird because I feel the same way. Like when I do stuff like this or when I go talk to people, I feel charged up. Like I feel better. Whereas when I'm by myself, I feel like depleted. Like I don't want to do shit. Like
it's definitely a balance. It's like, I know people who get so deep into the introvertism, and you see the ugly side of it. Like, I think I've been at the door, like.
Because the thing is, you start conversating with the different parts in your brain, even if you want to call it subconscious.
Look, it's the being, let's say being an extrovert is here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a step above that, and then so on and so forth. And then you get to like the neutral zone,
mm-hmm.
and then it gets like more till it's like super introverted,
mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
I think I've been like
past the nucleus.
Yeah, past that. And then there's a moment where it's like a level that's peace. It's peace. But you can go past peace, and then it starts getting kind of weird. Like, all right, I found peace in not having to be around people.
Yeah.
And just being around myself. Depending on whether you're the type to be sitting there, like you said before, a monk, and not doing shit, just unless you're doing that, you're more than likely consuming that, this, and you know where that can take you.
Yeah.
Wherever you want to go.
Wherever you want to go. And so and that's the biggest thing when it gets into that. That's why it reaches a narcissistic place, because you're filling your brain with it gets weird. You're right. It does get weird because you're no longer consuming like anything social, and you're consuming the programming completely. So 100%, these are the people that come outside and they'll tell you, they'll be like, yo, I'm trying to rizz up something, bro. Where the hoes at? And you be like, nigga, do you come outside? like, are you good? Like, chill, bro. Just relax.
You're not getting
they're not getting it, yeah.
You're not scanning the field. Like, you're not getting no reception out here. You just consuming this.
Consuming this, yeah. And that shit's not real.
And this is modified.
Yeah,
this is like,
that shit's not.
It's not telling the truth.
To plainly say it, that shit is not real.
It's not telling the truth.
It's not real. It's not real, and it's crazy that people who don't interact with people outside of it, they've lost touch with that. And that's why you see a lot of variations in Gen X and Gen Z of like people that are super, like sometimes I was in a restaurant the other day and I was getting my food and I could see somebody wanted to talk to me. Like you know how you could tell somebody's like making eye contact with you and like looking like they want to like say something, but they just not saying nothing. And I was like, that's so strange. Like, if I thought I recognized somebody or I saw somebody, I usually just be like,
Do you think they recognize you?
yeah, for sure. I could tell because I recognize them.
All right, so wait. See, you let a nigga talk long enough.
No, you let it happen.
Everything,
I was being a person that wanted to test.
What happened was, because I know it happened. They both did the same exact shit to each other.
It's like, nigga, I know that's you. But here's the thing. The difference is I wanted to see if they would say anything. And if they didn't, it was fine either way. It was just like stored in my head.
I don't know whether to attribute this to your Gemini or your Gen Z.
Yeah.
Or you're just being a young adult. I don't know. But I just know for a fact. Because I know you, nigga. You did that stupid ass face. You did that stupid ass face. This nigga.
I do be making
like
that.
Niggas freeze up. Yo. They did the same shit to each other, and then he's over here.
And now I'm here telling the story like they're wrong.
They done told somebody else the same shit. Like, yo, this nigga was being weird. Like, no, both of y'all was in there.
Here's the thing. Like, if in a different setting or outside, when I do see people I know, like if it wasn't like in a restaurant, like I'm at that point where I'm like running around. So if I see somebody, I'm just like, if they don't say shit to me, I'm not gonna say shit to them. I don't care. But like in another setting, like where it's more like I'm like just chilling. And this happened. I saw somebody from a concert that I had seen. I was like, yo, ain't you that one nigga that performed over blah, blah, blah? And then they came over and then we talked about it. And he was still being weird. But it was fine because I talked to him. I was like, yo, I remember you, blah, blah. He was like, yeah, somebody just performed. But it's like different little scenarios like that. That shit happened. It's a daily basis for us.
That reminds me of what I was saying about the Gemini and the whatever. It's because I know there's moments where I can see you either aren't like necessarily comfortable or feeling the situation that you may have to consult with somebody, right? If it's not in your own terms,
right? Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Unless you genuinely want to just be like, "Hey, bro, what's good with you? Like, who are you?" Yeah.
If I don't genuinely want to do something, like depending on what mood I'm in. Like, I'm not going to fake it. Like, I just won't.
Yeah, you can see it. Like, it's almost like, I don't know what that is. Like, it's like, how can a person be, like, the same type of person that'll walk up to you like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Like, be cool as hell, but then.
But if you was like, hey, yo, get that nigga right there. You be like,
huh? That nigga? What? Should we focus on the reason why we're here? Or should we just focus on being present and being alive on where we are? And what do you think the answer to that is? For yourself.
Should we focus on
the reason why we're here? Like, did God put me here? Did an alien make me? Did the Big Bang happen? Or should you just focus on being alive and living out whatever you feel like your purpose is, whether you found it or not? Like, should you just focus on being alive?
Be real. It's weird. It's because it's like you can say, I think everybody has their journey and they should focus on their journey. So if that involves you trying to discover why you're here, that's your journey. But if it don't, then you just want to be here and it just exist, and every day it's gonna be something to do. It's something new, like, okay.
And for you, how do you feel about that? Because personally, I know that I feel like
I'm too much of a realist to even
I feel
be real about this. Like, I can't even just.
That's interesting.
Like, I know the truth on both ends, like, in my heart. Like, it's just.
Well, what do you think it is?
Well, I have faith.
Okay.
So that's not a religious tie. That's
faith. I think faith is an emotion.
More so spiritual.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
But yeah,
I feel the same way for myself. Like, I would never get into any specifics, but that's just because I also would say I'm a realist, but in the most realist way, to where the point where I'd be like, I really don't know what it is. I know it's a higher power, but I have no idea what it is. And I can just say that, like, if
Yeah,
it turns out it's like a sentient alien, like, I wouldn't be mad.
It's one of those things where it's
shit
like, all
that.
right, everybody has their faith, Muslim, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you may be.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And who am I to tell them that what they believe in isn't real? And then, in the same breath, if what I was traditionally raised on, which is like to be Christian, they just disbelieve that. Like, they just don't.
And
like,
isn't it wild that I feel like that's common sense to, like, feel like it's okay not to disregard anybody's religion? Is that crazy? Like, I feel like that would be crazy to certain churches and certain religions. And I feel like,
but then it's like, if
it's weird. Like, how can
you can say that because your belief is what your belief is,
right?
But to someone who believes wholeheartedly in what they believe in, it's kind of like
all the other religions is ops.
It's like they're kind of banging a different set.
Which I understand is crazy. Like,
rolling.
It's crazy because, like, when it comes to, like, that specific topic, it's like, well, how much, and you know that it gets specific, like how much forgiveness does this person get for being wrong and things, things of that nature. And I just, that's in my mind, and you're right, it could be because of whatever I believe in. And it's, I can say it, like, I just believe in there's a higher power.
I believe
I don't necessarily
that you
follow
would be
any.
a fool to think we came from a monkey.
That's crazy.
I believe that you are
I
a
agree.
fool.
I
believe that you're a fool if there is a such thing as a hell, or if there's a such thing as a heaven,
and you choose to believe in nothing. I agree.
You choose to say, well, I don't believe in none of that.
Yeah, I agree. You goof.
I'm here by my own volition. I was a particle and I said, nigga.
I do think that
transform.
I think I do think if you chose to believe in that only, it would be the dumbest shit ever.
Like, it was nothing one day, and then something happened to where all of this shit is here now.
Yeah,
and
like,
you want me to believe whatever that.
Yeah,
and then we can take it to the things out there.
Right.
The other beings.
Yeah, the other shit.
The
the aliens and shit. But even that could be a fair. I
don't believe in that shit.
I put the particle one on. But what if it's true?
What if what's true?
The alien.
Okay, but you see how you would be more enticed to believe in aliens than a higher power?
No, I believe in the higher power first, before I believe in the aliens.
I don't feel the same energy.
Here's what I'm laughing about. If it was aliens, I just wouldn't be mad. Like, I'd be like, oh. If it was nothing, I'd be quite upset.
Niggas spend more time and have more interest in talking about what would happen in a zombie apocalypse before.
That's true.
They talk about
aliens and shit like
have
that.
A genuine conversation with your boy, like, what you believe in, bro?
Interesting.
Like, why do you believe, or why do you think,
and honestly,
why do you think we're here?
I almost think that's an important conversation. Well, it's not, everybody has their own perspective on shit. But if you existing in this life, I feel like you should talk about the people this type of shit. Like,
a lot of this thinking shit, man, you gotta really know what you're doing out here. Cause there's niggas really out here doing that shit, and you see, like, it could go
Facts.
a couple different ways.
Facts. What's old boy, man?
Be careful, bro. Exploring your mind as much as they want you up in there.
You know what's crazy about what you just said? I definitely agree, and I think I had early examples.
Take breaks.
Some early examples of this was like hearing the story of like Joey Badass and his best friend Capital Steez, and if you know that story, it's kind of like if you know you know kind of basis. But I learned that story when I was in like middle school.
When he unalive.
Yeah. But like, if you paid attention to when Capital Steez was alive, and I just thought he was an amazing rapper.
Yeah.
But then when I found out, when I got older and I dove into the person he was and the things he was going into, I was like, oh. And I seen it happen firsthand to people that I know. They dive too much within themselves and they become spiritual, or they do these things of this different nature and they can't handle it. And that's one thing I knew about myself, is that I knew never to take, and I think you can group things like conspiracies and things of that nature all into this thing, because most conspiracies are possibly true. And you could rack around all day sitting down, put a whiteboard up and try to connect the dots and drive yourself crazy, or you can just accept like, okay, this may or may not be true.
So
same thing with
that's why I say what I say. Like,
Yeah.
be careful in there.
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah, if you're not ready to discover a lot of this shit, like
a lot of the shit is
X
mood. It's mood changing. It's like if you really delve into certain things and
energies and all this
you
different.
start getting the shit that come with that.
Yeah,
It starts to fuck with your brain, and then you start questioning. If you get to a
Yeah.
point like this, you get to a point sometimes where it's like, all right, I can't believe none of this shit. Like,
yeah, you start thinking it's like the Matrix. Yeah,
this nigga sounds
yeah.
compelling as fuck, debunking this shit over here.
Facts.
This nigga sounds, he's debunking this shit over here, and everybody's debunking shit and got all the facts,
Right.
all the science,
Yeah.
all the knowledge.
So Illuminati telling y'all to go sunbathe. You don't got to eat shit.
He's
That nigga's
it's
eating.
a
Nigga.
nigga out here eating watermelon.
That nigga's eating. Trust
It's a
me.
nigga out here eating watermelon. Fruit up. That's the name of the brand. My boy been eating watermelon for like a year. That ass, he got skinny and shit.
No, that nigga.
And he was looking crazy
I'm
for a
s-
second.
he's-
And I'm not judging him.
Yeah, he's not bugging.
Because
He's
I
not bugging.
admire the
Yeah.
journey. I watched him go through the journey. And then
He had some chicken.
He started looking a little different. Like, of course he looked different
Yeah, from the diet. Right?
from the diet itself, but it went from looking like an unhealthy diet to like a
his body adjusted.
yeah, adjusted. Like, and then all right,
You're like,
yeah.
oh shit, nigga, all right.
He started looking normal again. I'm like, okay, that's commendable.
Damn, nigga. When you put it like that, I'm like, damn, that should not. That's some real commendable
it's
shit.
weird.
Like,
It's
if
gotta
you
get
go,
ugly before it get beautiful.
because it is true that I believe your body has to purge all this
Yeah.
shit. Like when I stop eating pork and certain things, like your body does purge, and then just out
You
of
have
nowhere
to fast, and
go
that's
back
with
up.
everything.
Yeah,
That's
right.
like, and you got to do the opposite sometimes.
Yeah, because I
Like, if you doing too much, like isolation and delving in yourself.
Yeah.
Some days you just gotta
be around people and go outside.
be with the
and
bullshit.
shit. Yeah,
like,
yeah,
just be with
yeah.
the shit.
Scroll TikTok,
For
do
a day,
something.
get
like,
it out the system, and then you can go right back into your back cave.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be a hermit in society. I think that's one thing that I've realized about society is you don't want to take yourself and make yourself a hermit, because we are still social creatures by nature, and we still need to be around people and still have relationships and things of that nature. All that shit is very necessary. And so isolation is never good. You start thinking about death and shit like that, whether you scared to die or not. And then, yeah, you start going down that rabbit hole, nigga. Which, speaking of which, like, do you think that's something a valid concern for people to just be scared to death?
General question, I don't think we should fear anything. We're going to fear things, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we should fear.
Right, to the point where it controls your life.
Because fear
is
what they call it.
Right.
Remember that. I just dropped jewels on your head.
No, that's knowledge.
Pause.
That's knowledge.
Fear is what they say it is. That's some whole different technology they talking about up in there. They slapped that bullshit label on it.
On it, yeah.
We mean something, dog. Like, we're different. Like, we're different. Like, the shit you use today, like a hand, and just call this a hand, this is a receptacle. Like,
right. It's a tool.
This is some real shit. Like,
yeah.
You can get into that. Like, this some real shit. Like,
Right.
we're real.
No. I get
like,
what you're even the point that you're going down.
Sentinels. Like, we some real.
And that's why I love like psychology and different things, because this is what I was actually telling my homegirl is like when she was even trying to make it simple, like you're either a narcissist or you're not. Like, just to wrap it all around together is we're complex human beings. And we have complex, like our body is complex, our brain, all this shit is complicated as fuck. Like, You can never just slap a label on it and it be that simple, because we're complicated. Like, even that's the difference between us and animals a lot of times. This is why we're at the top of the food chain, and why you can't even compare us to. We have primal ways still, but at the end of the day, we're not primal anymore. Which is why you can even tie that in and say the red pill, all that shit is stupid, because we're no longer just that simple where shit is black and white. Everything is complicated with us.
Everything
is complex. So, like, at the end of the day, that's just what it is, our systems in our body. And that's why, like, the whole fair thing, even what you were saying, like, that's a design word. That's like with every word that we've ever gotten. That's every negative word that we know has a positive thing to it. Every one of them.
Except rape.
Edit that out. Niggas said except pedophilia.
I don't think.
Yo.
I don't think.
Hey, yo.
I don't think. Got a good side.
No, that's not funny. Yo.
They gonna cancel you, bro.
Nigga, you said that.
Cancel, nigga.